As usual, I'd like to thank everyone for posting their questions and making this video possible. Let's begin. Person wanted to know if there still remains relationships between cooperators and active guys in the life who they were friends with. Although rare, some friendships that were formed either before or during a guy's time in that life will withstand anything. For example, not long ago, I posted a video about someone who I refer to as Vinny, understandably not his true name. So depending on the circumstances, these situations do take place. During your time, were members allowed to transfer between families, or was it only limited to associates? I've mentioned this in the past and can only speak about my time and during those years. There was absolutely no moving between families. Associates could be moved or traded or released to another family, but not a member. Why haven't the American families tried silencing prosecutors, investigators, journalists, etc., like they did in Italy and Sicily? Because by doing so would absolutely cause the government to come down on whatever family or families were involved. When the Sicilian Mafia took to this tactic, basically declaring war on the state, for a short time it worked, but ultimately became their downfall. It's the reason the current Mafia in Italy knows better than to ever try to do anything like that again. Is it common for brothers to be part of different crime families? There were a lot of brothers who ended up for one reason or another in different families. Can a capo give an order to a soldier with a different crew in the family? Technically, he should speak to the guy's captain, but he can. And it usually wouldn't be in the form of an order, but more along the lines of, do me a favor. For instance, I was asked to do a favor by Joe Cafe, who is not my captain. So things of this nature do take place. How do Sicilian mobsters manage to live low-key? If you're referring to guys in Sicily, Italian law enforcement have been doing damage to them lately, so I'm not sure if I would consider them low-key. As for the Sicilians who live here in the US, they're definitely more careful and attempt to be low-key, but it's not an easy thing to do in present day. Do you think that while Tony Ducks was sitting in prison, that he thought to himself, I never should have picked Vic and Gas for the administration? I think Tony Ducks tried to do the right thing by the family, and Buddy Luongo, who he picked to be his successor, was disposed of by Vic and Gas. Considering he received a 100-year sentence, I'm sure his mind wasn't too focused on what was happening in the street. In retrospect, he probably did regret involving them, but what was done was done. His legacy as the boss of the family was one respected by all the families, and had he not went to prison and was able to live out his life on the street, the Lucchese family today would be an entirely different type of family. The inactive members still belong to a crew and occasionally report to a captain. And are they required to pay tribute if they're no longer involved in criminal activity? Yes, inactive members still belong to a crew, and they could be called to report, but it's unlikely they would be required to kick up. This next person wants to know how certain guys who've been involved in a rape are accepted by the mob, and is there a line they won't cross when accepting people? There have been guys like Christy Tick, the former Lucchese consigliere, who was involved in such a crime. How, or rather why, this was overlooked, I have no idea. And where that line is set, I also don't know. There are many things that were overlooked in that life for some reason. When a member is inducted and his family owns a business, is the business put on record with him? If the business is on record with another family, can he get the business put on record with him? His family business should automatically be on record with him. If the business is on record with another family or someone else, he could request that the business be released to him. And usually, as a courtesy, it's done. But obviously, it all depends, especially if the other person is earning big with the business. What's the biggest misconception people have about the life? And why is there so much betrayal and backstabbing within people who are supposed to be family? A great deal of mob enthusiasts believe that guys in the mob are all good guys, stand-up guys, people who possess honor, respect, and loyalty. And it's understandable because people enjoy rooting for the bad guys or the underdog. I get it. However, they don't know these guys and obviously never dealt with them. I recently stated backstabbing and betrayal is a learned behavior for some people. For others, it comes naturally. The mob's foundation was cemented with these very things. Name one family void of betrayal and backstabbing. There is none. It's who they are and what they're made of. Here's an email question. Can a member of a crew go to their captain for money, like for loan sharking? And wouldn't it benefit a captain to help his crew make money? Yes. A member can go to his captain for money, which typically he would get at a point, giving him room to make money off of it. Guys in a crew should be able to make money on their own. But yes, if a captain could help his crew out, it would benefit him because a good earning crew is a reflection of himself. Another email question. You shared a conversation you had with Vinny. If you were able to meet with him, how would you know he wasn't setting you up? I'll put it this way. If Vinny gave me a schedule of where he would be and then left it up to me to figure out a good time to meet, that's one sign. Any sharp guy knows better to suggest a time and place. They would leave it up to the other person. Just like when a guy's on paper, parole, and you need to meet with him, you let him pick the time and place because now it's on him. So it's sort of the same idea. For example, hypothetically, Vinny tells me on Mondays, I'm usually home for the night by 8 and 9 p.m. And on Tuesdays and Thursdays, I'm in this office at this address from 7 a.m. to the afternoon. He's leaving it up to me. And that's the best way I can answer that question. As for protecting his identity, I haven't discussed it with anyone as far as who he is. Let me remind everyone to like this video. Also, if you haven't subscribed yet, you could do that as well. The super thanks icon found underneath the video is essential because it helps this podcast to continue producing videos. And for the final question, what do you think Tommy Lucchese's reaction would be as to the current state of the Lucchese family? Understandably, so much about the life has drastically changed since Tommy Lucchese's time. Viewers themselves have left messages over the years saying something to the effect that Tommy Lucchese must be turning in his grave. The state of the entire mob itself would have all the former bosses turning in their graves. As I've mentioned, treachery and backstabbing go back to Tommy Lucchese's time. It existed back then. So I don't believe any of that would come as a shock to him. What would is the family that bears his name falsely labeling its members and in some instances killing them. I think that after taking a good look at his former family, he'd quickly want to go back to wherever it is he came from.